It's a nightmare scenario for the nation. The threat of a new terror attack right here on U.S. soil. The consequences would be enormous for any commander-in-chief. But what about the presidential candidates? There's been a blunt new admission from John McCain's chief strategist, Charlie Black. He's quoted in Fortune magazine as saying a new attack on the United States would be, quote, a big advantage to John McCain. Our senior political correspondent, Candy Crowley, is here, together with our own Dana Bash, both of whom are watching this story and a lot of other stories as well. All right, I know this Senator McCain, only moments ago, he reacted to these pretty startling comments, very blunt comments from Charlie Black.
That's right, and I think we should first say, Wolf, that we've been trying to reach Charlie Black. He's apparently on a plane. His cell phone is going to voicemail. In fact, the campaign is also, as you can imagine, trying to reach Charlie Black to get a clarification or a better explanation of what he perhaps meant in this interview with Fortune magazine. But as you said, Senator McCain did just speak about it. He was asked about it by our own Peter Hamby, and here's what he said.
I cannot imagine why he would say it. It's not true. I've worked tirelessly since 9/11 to prevent another attack on the United States of America. My record is very clear. The Armed Services Committee on pieces of legislation, sponsoring with Joe Lieberman the 9/11 Commission so we could find out the causes and how to fix the challenges that we face as to the security of this nation. I cannot imagine it, and so if he said that, and I do not know the context, I strenuously disagree.
So there you hear us what Senator McCain said to reporters just a short while ago in Fresno, California. But it's important to note, Wolf, I was actually with Senator McCain the very day that Benazir Bhutto was assassinated, and Charlie Black in this Fortune magazine interview talks about the fact that that is something that helped his campaign. And I remember that morning he came out, Senator McCain, right off the bat and said that he knew Benazir Bhutto, that he knows the region, talked about trips that he'd taken to Pakistan, to Waziristan. He really did understand from that moment that this is something that he thought could help him in the race at that point to be the Republican nominee. In fact, at that event, that very day, I asked Senator McCain if he thought it would help his political campaign, and he said pretty much yes. He said, I'm the one with the experience, the knowledge, and the judgment, so perhaps my service could enhance those credentials. So it's not a secret that back then Senator McCain and his campaign
and
thought
it did help him. That was in December, and it was just before New Hampshire. He desperately needed to win that first primary in the nation in January in New Hampshire. And Charlie Black rather bluntly says, you know what? That threat, as underscored by the assassination of Benazir Bhutto, wound up helping him politically.
That's right. That is clearly what he says in this interview. The open question is what he meant when he talked about any future terror attack, because we haven't heard from the Democrats yet, but I can imagine that they're going to talk about the fact that this is, just like George W. Bush, playing on the politics of fear. Again, we're still waiting to hear from Charlie Black about what he meant.
As soon as you do, let me know, and we'll let our viewers know as well. Candy Crowley, let's bring you into this conversation right now. And factually, Charlie Black may have a point, because polls suggest McCain certainly does have an advantage over Obama when it comes to the war on terror. Most recently, the latest USA Today Gallup poll shows 52% of Americans think McCain would do a better job on terror. 33% say Barack Obama would do a better job on terror. So the question to you, Candy, is does Barack Obama have a problem when it comes to dealing with the war on terror?
Well, look, this is what we know. We know that the one significant advantage that John McCain has in the polls, when you lay all those issues out there, is the war on terror. Even in the war in Iraq, he runs basically even with Barack Obama. So they obviously know this. I think the problem with John McCain and this Charlie Black comment is that, a future terrorist attack in the U.S., we're still pretty raw from 9/11, and it's become this kind of third rail to say it. It's not that we haven't discussed it, what's the political advantage here, but it has this really harsh sound. So I agree with Dan. I think you may see the Democrats come out and talk about this, and in fact, this is something that Barack Obama did accuse Hillary Clinton of earlier on, trying the politics of fear, that kind of thing.
Let's make the turn now to a show of unity by the Clinton and Obama forces, because we learned today where this big public meeting that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama will take place.
They're going to have a Unity for Change rally, and it will be in Unity, New Hampshire, a place where they tied 107 votes apiece. So if you don't get this sort of a subtle approach. This is going to be the only event that the two of them do, at least on Friday. And obviously full of symbolism. What he wants to do and what she wants to do is say, here we are together. We all need to come together. And by the way, it's preceded, as you know, by a fundraiser, which may be sort of practically at this point a little more important, where Thursday night Hillary Clinton will be introducing Barack Obama to some of her big fundraisers.
And that fundraiser is here in Washington, right?
Yes.
So we'll be watching that. We'll be watching what happens in Unity. And we're also going to be watching, we have a report coming up later on Bill Clinton and what's going on with him, because he hasn't spoken a lot about Barack Obama, if at all.